So, I said I was going to give you all 2 videos today. Here's video number 2 for you. What you're looking at before you is what was previously named as Aerodactyl Jank, because this thing is janky. This is a little bit of an experiment of mine. I've always thought the Aerodactyl card is amazing. It's a little underwhelming at times. So I thought the best way to utilize it would be as a mop-up attacker in a spread deck, because you can do a lot of damage with it really quickly. Its attack is very simple. It does 90 damage for 3 energy, but if you don't have any GX or EX Pokemon on your bench, you do 90 more damage. It's a lot of damage to be doing for 3 energy on a non-EX GX Pokemon, right? You first notice, but you don't play any choice bands. Well, I don't think I need to. The idea is to be swinging with Tapu Koko for the most part in this deck. We do play 4 Electro Power. You think about it this way. Your opponent, they have their active Pokemon. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 benched Pokemon down. You play 2 Electro Power and a Flying Flip. 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180 damage is on the board. That's a lot of damage that you then get to use what we discussed in the last video briefly, a magical swap Tapu Lele. You then get to abuse that magical swap. You can do all sorts of different things with it. So that's the idea of the deck, is you're going to use Tapu Koko to use Flying Flip. You're going to take full advantage of Electro Power. We do play 2 Giratinas in here just to give us a little extra damage, and also gives us something bigger to swing with. And again, Aerodactyl gives us something even bigger to swing with in the right situation. We play Malamar to help us maintain energy on the board, and a Rangaroo for draw support. One of Ditto Prism Star to help us evolve into Aerodactyl, or if the situation calls for it, another Malamar. And then the tech of the deck is the Second Strike Larvitar. So if your opponent's active Pokemon already has 3 or more damage counters on it, you do 70 more damage. With our 3 count of double colorless and 8 psychic energies and Malamars, it's very easy to do that. We would mostly be doing that against things that are fighting weak, like Zoroark, Pikachu Zekrom GX. Other than that, the deck is actually relatively straightforward, surprisingly enough, despite all this goofiness. We do play 1 Fossil Excavation map to help us find out the Aerodactyl, along with 1 identified fossil. 4 Mysterious Treasure to help us find, the Psychic Pokemon of the deck, and then 4 Ultra Balls to help us thin out and find the rest of the pieces of the deck. 2 Switches. Doesn't seem like you should need them with a deck with Tapu Koko, but early testing has shown that people just Guzma up your Malamars, and then you're just kind of waiting until you draw Guzma, and that's no fun. So put the switches in. Play Shrine of Punishment to further enhance our ability to dish out damage around the board. It makes math a lot easier for when you're swinging against bigger stuff. Pretty beefy supporter line, if I do say so myself, with 10 draw supporters and 3 Guzmas. And then we play 3 double colorless energies and 8 basic psychic energies. I know that count seems a little weird. Why don't you play more double colors? Well, as soon as you get the Malamars down on the board, you basically have double colorless every turn. So that's why I went the way I went. So why don't we give this a whirl? Now, I haven't played it since I put the Larvitar in. So hopefully we can find a Pikarom and I can get to punish it, right? That would be great. Alright, calling the coin flip. Tails always fails. Never forget that. Again, Pokemon, the true random, come on. How am I drawing both of my stadiums in my opening hand when I have the least likelihood of doing so? Ooh, a mulligan twice. Our opponent's going to be really happy with us. And we're going to really be hoping that we find a double colorless energy to start this game. Really hoping, and another Electro Power. Whew. So this is another one of those decks where sequencing is going to be very important because there's a lot of moving parts. There are so many different options, and planning ahead is big in this one too. Because we're playing a spread deck, we have to be thinking a couple turns down the road. Like, okay, well, what do I do here? What do I do here? My opponent's got this situation. I think this guy's a goner. I really need it though. What can I maybe do here? This is it's gonna be interesting. So our opponent Ultra Balls for the Giratina. Do they have a way to toss it? They're gonna look for a way to toss it. I know dead air isn't fun for all of you watching, but there wasn't anything to talk about there. Guzma. It's no good. Play that fossil excavation map, gets us a free peek in the deck. We do have the unidentified fossil in deck. I actually think it's going to be a useful attacker in this game, Aerodactyl. I don't know what variant of Malamar they're playing, but at a minimum, it's not going to hurt us to put down the unidentified fossil. Looks like we priced 2 mysterious treasures and a lily. And a psychic energy. At a minimum, that's what we've priced. Priced a Coco. I have all the DCUs in deck. I don't... See, this is what I hate doing. I don't want to play this Electro Power just to get it out of my hand. And I don't want to play the energy down, but I need to draw more cards with the Lily. I think we can be patient for right now. Alright, we didn't hit it anyway, which we're fine with. Now, I do have the Ultra Ball Rescue Stitcher play here available to me, so I can grab another Inkay, which I think is going to be a really good idea. And then we can Rescue Stretcher back the Aerodactyl next turn if we need to. But what we're really going to need to hit is a draw supporter, or get let loose into some good stuff. Viridian Forest is helpful. A friend of mine used to say, why would I play N if everybody else plays N? Brad was telling me, hey, we need to figure out a way to put Viridian Forest into this deck if we're going to actually try to play with it. And I'm going, well, why should I play Viridian Forest if everybody else plays Viridian Forest? And a lot of decks play Viridian Forest right now, so I'm not saying my logic here is correct, but I'm not saying it's wrong either. And speaking of Brad, messaging me, asking questions. Okay, our opponent's going pretty hard in for... Well, they probably want a skateboard, energy. Well, they already distortion toward this turn. Guzma, okay. But do they have stuff to go with the Guzma? Whereas I am definitely hitting Flying Flip this turn. Oh, that's unfortunate. Why'd I have to draw that now? Don't really need to switch right now. I would have really preferred that to be a Malamar. Excuse me. So we'll get the Aerodactyl in play. And hopefully that becomes scary for our opponent. Hopefully. Now we're not taking a prize right now, but we are causing mayhem. Because right there, there's 130 damage on the board that we get to play around with. If the Coco survives, it becomes a prize next turn. If the Coco survives again, multiple prizes, hopefully. Some people build spread boxes with a lot of counter stuff, counter energy, counter catcher, stuff like that. I honestly didn't think you'd get too terribly far behind in this deck often enough to warrant its use. That, and quite frankly, I didn't see where the space came in. Maybe Aerodactyl isn't the way to do it. Maybe this just becomes a more pure spread box. Because that would give me 4 slots. Let's see, 1, 2 Aerodactyls, fossil, unidentified fossil, 5 spots, because I wouldn't play the Ditto at that point in time either. So, who knows what we can do with this thing, right? So that Malamar evolution now means that Giratina is going to attack, which now means that Tapu Koko is getting knocked out, which now means I don't know what I'm attacking with next turn. Good news is, our opponent's going to put more damage on the board for us. So that'll be 170 damage on their side of the board now. Probably damaging itself, yep. Cynthia was the best card we could hope for in this situation. No, we still need a Malamar, a Switch, and a couple of other... No, we got 2 Malamars, and a Coco, and another DCE. We're gonna get something accomplished here. The Ditto's gonna go down on the board. The Oranguru is gonna go down on the board. The Tapu Koko is gonna go down on the board. We're gonna instruct and see what we can find. Because hopefully it's like Switch and something, and it's not. But that's okay. That's okay. So now I can have Aerodactyl ready to go. I'm not going to use the other recharge right now. Or should I put it on the Oranguru? No, we're going to put it on the Oranguru for right now. The reason is if they decide to Guzma up the Oranguru and then pin it active, it's going to give us the ability to attach another basic psychic energy that we can very easily fish out with Shrine or Viridian Forest and kind of go from there. So, unfortunately, we are going to lose this Malamar, which that sucks, but we have the Ditto down on the board, which can evolve into another Malamar. So hopefully it's not a delayed absence, or it's not something that I'm going to find myself like, oh man, I really needed that second Malamar down. But getting the 2 recharges was helpful. And I'm so happy we got the DCE in hand as well, so it gives me the option to attack with the Tapu Koko, which still, unfortunately, we need double electro power, if I'm reading that right. That's 60 damage, yep. So double electro power to knock it out, which is unfortunate. Ooh, actually, really fun thing that could happen next turn, potentially. Top deck, like Mysterious Treasure, juice the Tapu Lele, the baby Lele, and then wipe out their Malamars off the board with a magical swap. That could be pretty fun. So they got 60, 80, 130, 150, 170 on their side of the board. Ooh, can't even knock out their Malamars. But after this turn, I will be able to, because they're going to use the Giratina to attack. What are they? No, don't do that. Don't do that. We liked him. It's fine. The problem is that they're going to be able to take out my Aerodactyl next turn. Which means I really just, quite frankly, want another Tapu Koko. Well, in this particular instance, with the Koko being knocked out, Aerodactyl gets promoted because we can retreat it for 1 and we can reload it back on. But we get to keep our Malamars, which I'm not really opposed to. And the other fun thing we get to do right now is we actually get to go and grab our Giratina. 2 can play at this game. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to hit those 2 Malamars on the bench with the Distortion Door. Just to simplify matters for us. So attach, recharge once. This is something I think the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online does really nicely. Like when you're done with an ability, the card just looks like it's just sitting there not doing anything and can't do anything. We're going to instruct before we retreat just in case we can find a switch or something else useful. Another Tina, that could be helpful for next turn. We'll retreat by tossing the Psychic Energy because we can recycle it. Shadow Impact, damage ourself. Take our first prize of the game. A Lily. Lily is nice. We can like that. Now what I'm hoping to find here in the next couple of turns is the means to just further wreak havoc upon my opponent. Now they have the knockout. They have knockout already. And they now found another Malamar. They already had it with the Viridian Forest in play. So 1 Psychic Recharge, 2 Psychic Recharges, 3 Psychic Recharges, a Stellar Wish, and then we'll see what happens from there. Now, part of you will be wondering, why didn't I damage the Jirachi with Distortion Door on that turn? In Spread, you play the long, long game. Setting those Malamars up for flying flips later is super important. Our opponent grabbed the Ultra Necrozma? Okay. I wish I had a means to make him play it down on the board so I can just use that as a damage soak. But we don't have Captivating Pokepuff anymore. Okay. I think we end up taking this knockout with Aerodactyl to make things easier on ourselves. Oh, and we've managed to run all of our energy out of our deck with the exception of 1 double colorless. That's pretty efficient. So we use the Distortion Door. Now we hit the Jirachi and this other Malamar to set it up. Because now it's 60 away, 60 away, 60 away. That has 60 on it already. Like I said, we're going to take the knockout with the Aerodactyl on this turn. And I know we're going to get knocked out again next turn, but we got to do what we have to do. Play the Lily. Electro Power. Okay, that's helpful, I suppose. We're going to hang on to that Psychic Energy in hand. Just because I don't want to devote the double colors to the Giratina. I would rather be able to grab a Tapu Koko with the Ultra Ball, Electro Power, and cause some shenanigans that way. So I think we're good for right now. We'll take a knockout by doing way too much damage, which I'm not a fan of doing if I don't have to. Now this Shrine could come in handy here. If they put down the Ultra Necrozma, that changes things up for us. And that's going to hit both of the Malamars again. My opponent was being smart there. They're counting on me evolving that Ditto into something, which is correct. I am going to be doing that. Just a matter of is it going to be another Malamar or am I going to go for another Aerodactyl? Ooh, another Jirachi. Fun, fun. Come on, put it down. Put it down. Now, does the opponent play the Guzma and take out something else? I don't think there's a lot of incentive for my opponent to do anything right now. Taking out the Aerodactyl makes more sense than taking out the Giratina, because I might not have the energy to use the Giratina. Because my opponent watched me play it one from hand to Aerodactyl, which would have been the one I got from Viridian Forest, as far as they know. He's going to play that Guzma. He's going to take out something else, something that I don't want him to take out. I found another Guzma. Jesus. Do you take out a Rancor? Do you take out... Do you go for Ditto? Really? If I never evolve into it, you can Sky Scorching Life for game, dude. I mean, you can Sky Scorching Life for game anyway, because I don't have any way of dealing with the situation currently at hand. Which is very annoying and very problematic. So we're going to do that to be annoying. Do that to be annoying. Larvitar, sorry dude, you don't serve a lot of purpose in this particular matchup. We're gonna... I don't see how, but this is, I think, the best way to conduct my business right now. Is use Magical Swap, rearrange the damage, and take out the Malamars as much as possible. And we'll Lily and draw out some more cards just to see if we can find something else that might help us. I don't think there was anything in deck that was going to help us anyway. So Magical Swap. Now the fun begins. Because there's not enough damage on the board. But we can take out the Malamars. We can take out a couple of the Malamars. And I wish there was a quicker way to do this. You know, in real life, we could just do it real quick and easy. But we're not in that stage, are we? Oops, wrong click. But we get to do it until we're done, right? And I'm actually going to put 10 damage on this Jirachi with no escape board. Just in case things happen. But our opponent already has the Ultra Necrozma in hand. If they have Metal Energy in hand, it's game. They have the Metal Energy in hand. Oh, actually, Beast Energy in hand. That'll do it too. Okay. Well, and that's what happens when you play the high wire act of a deck that Aerodactyl Jank happens to be. Like I said, this might be something where Aerodactyl is not the answer. It might just become Tina with a heavier Tina Malamar variant with a heavier spread focus. But this is one of those things that you do. You love a certain Pokemon. You see a card and you're like, wow, this card's really good. What can I do to make it better? And this is kind of what I've done with Aerodactyl. I tried it before as a main attacker with Malamar and just wasn't cutting the mustard, and then the tag teams came out and it really wasn't going to do it. So this was the next way to take that deck, was to use Tapu Kokos and such to kind of set your numbers up throughout the game, and then you can use the Aerodactyl to just swing and take big knockouts. So hopefully this time we can stream Kokos a little more efficiently. That's the thing that I've noticed this deck has trouble doing, is keeping Tapu Koko going over and over again. And we have to start with a pile of energy and Tapu Lele. This one's probably not going to make it into the video. This is going to be a bad start. Okay, it's a little better. Still not thrilled about it. I have a good deck, dude. You don't even know what's going on here yet. Please do not pass judgment upon my poor decision making. Alright, here we go. I believe they're playing Zapdos, which problematic, but not too problematic, because they don't hit for weakness, so they can't really punish the Aerodactyls. And as we've gone over before, it's tricky to knock out. Really, Professor Kukui? I mean, I get it. Ooh, that's no good. Got a Kukui turn 1 for damage, for a draw. But the math just isn't there for Zapdos to knock out Giratina 3-4 times a game. Which, with the hand that we have currently, we're not going to be doing that anyway. Koko, attach, evolve. At least we have this going for us right now. We're going to be able to attack. We're going to be able to do 50 damage to that Jirachi. The damage we're doing down there probably isn't going to prove to be all that relevant. But nonetheless, we're going to see if this does anything useful for us. Come on, find another Professor Kukui. Man, what is their hand got to be filled with if they can't do nothing? Nest Ball. Okay, now they're going to maybe get something going. Nest Ball for Zapdos, I'm guessing. Yep. So they have the attack. Do they have the Electro Power in hand? Choice Band, not a whole lot of good there. That sucks for us. We don't have anything going on. So we're in the discard pile. We have nothing useful to attack with. Somehow again, when our deck looks like we're just ready to die out completely, it still finds a way to fail us. Yikes. Well, might as well do some damage. That particular 20 damage isn't going to mean nothing, but it's better than doing literally nothing. Worst comes to worst, they knock it out, the energy goes in the discard pile. I'm kind of hoping they manage to whiff Electro Power. But something tells me there's already one sitting in that hand. What would they be Ultra Balling for? Another Zapdos right now? Going for the Absol maybe? Because I saw a Dark type icon there. Oranguru, yeah, that totally solid. Guzma, the Malamar, or the Inkay, depending on what they can knock out. So they have the electro power in hand. Ooh, they might not. They're going for it. They're digging for it. Okay, guess not. So, the question becomes, what can we possibly hit to make this turn any good? We're about to find out. A whole bunch of nothing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw away an Aerodactyl. We're going to grab a Giratina. And I'm going to bench that Giratina. And I'm going to get value out of my Psychic Recharge before this Malamar is knocked out. But I'm going to hold that Psychic Energy just in case something presents itself that I'm not seeing right now. Because I still have... Do I have one more in here still? Like if I find a Tapu Koko, I'm going to want to attack with the Tapu Koko. And if possible, I want to take out that Koko Prism Star. Because our opponent hasn't used it and it's sat down there, but they don't have any lightning in the discard pile. They don't have any Pokemon they want to attach to. So part of me wants to really punish our opponent for not being able to utilize that card. Alright, and bye-bye Malamar. So now we're down to the one Mally. Still think the right way to do this is to... No, we're just going to go with the Tina. Save that because that'll come in handy later in the game. I hope. Attach Cynthia, because these cards are kind of dead with the current situation. Koko, Electro Power, Mally, cool. We can drop the Koko now, recharge to it, have it ready to go for next turn. Now the fun here is they don't have another attacker set up right now, but they have a lot of hand. They've used a little bit of search, but not all of it. What do I want to do? Right now, I'm going to utilize the Tapu Lele for what it is, which is not very good for me right now. And plot the damage there. Ooh, another Electro Power. This is where things get fun. If they put down another Zapdos, I can then attack it with Flying Flip for weakness, take it out with the 2 Electro Powers, and spread my damage around. I could actually get 2 prizes next turn if things work out the way I would like them to work out. Escape Rope. Escape Rope. You can have my Tapu Lele. Because I don't want any shenanigans happening with my Tapu Koko right now. I don't know what's going on right here. The opponent's got to be digging for Nest Ball or something to find with their something that they can attach energy to. Oh, they already had it in hand. Here goes Dance of the Ancients, right? No? Oof, man, I gotta take that thing out. Got to. So they already got knockout on the Tapu Lele. Now they Guzma up what? Because they don't knock out anything else right now. Okay, but I now don't have Guzma or something like that in hand to deal with this situation, which really kind of sucks. We're going to play the Fossil Excavation map and not hit it on purpose, just so we can use the Erica and try to draw cards and see if we can't find one of our switches. Sweet! We found it! And then we would need... Man, if only I had some damage on that already. but let's just get this knockout, right? We're going to take 2 prizes right now. We're going to be relatively happy. Flying flip. Boom. Prizes galore. And just like that, we're back in the lead, right? Now, what has our opponent utilized resource-wise? Only 1 electro power. Okay. So, the entirety of my deck is still within realistic range of our opponent for taking us out. We've got a handful of lilies, so we're not drawing anything extra for a little while. But our opponent also... Okay, now they have an attacker, and you should be using against the ancients here, I would hope. Thunder Mountain. Okay. I like Thunder Mountain. I think it's a really good card. Here's the problem we're going to run into here in a moment. We're going to have that Giratina get knocked out here at some point in time. And that Malamar is not going to be able to recharge that Giratina in a turn, which is the way we beat this kind of a deck. So we're gonna be fighting through this a little bit. Because this is my last Electro Power that I have. But I do have another Coco here. See, I want to make the opponent switch. So I think this is still the right way to do it. That's going to put that at 100 damage, 60, 40, 40, 40. It's 160, 200, 280. Right? Should be. And quite frankly, next turn might be a promote the Coco, recharge on the Lele, magical swap. Although that's not going to give me a win. So there's 280. If they don't remove any Pokemon from the board, I have exactly enough damage to take the last 3 prizes. And if they are simply foolish enough to bench another Jirachi, that just alleviates the ulcer that is slowly growing in my stomach from playing a spread deck. Okay, okay, go for it. Come on, bring it, bring it. There is exactly enough damage on the board as it currently sits for me to take care of business. If they do not remove that Coco from play! This is incredible. My opponent doesn't see it, unless I can't do math here. So 100, 160, 200, 240, 280. That is 110. How much HP does Absol have? It has 100 like I thought. 70. That's 280 damage, folks. Our opponent did not see it. Alright. Unfortunately, this is going to take a minute. Should have left the damage on the Zapdos, which is exactly what I'm going to do now, realizing what I'm doing here. Either way, the same result's going to happen. I'm just going to keep piling the damage up on the Absol Jirachi and the Zapdos to take the win here. This is wrong. I have no business winning this game, but that's what spread does. So there's victim number 2 of our evil plot. And with a couple more clicks, we will have sealed the game up. Oh, come on! It took you that long to realize what was going on, my friend? Okay, well, that being said, I think, yeah, the video's getting a little long, but this deck can be improved. So, why don't we jump into the editor real quick and make those changes. And do the little happy dance, because I got 2 free packs. Little happy dance, not a big one. Little baby happy dance. So we go and we find our Aerodactyl Janky deck. Aerodactyl's no good. It's not providing the value I would like. So we got 5 spots back between the Ditto, the 2 Aerodactyls, and the fossil related cards. So what do we want to put back in here? Well, for instance, I want to put the 4th Tapu Koko back in here. Boom. The Larvitar is going to stay. We're already maxed out on Electro Power and Ultra Ball and Mysterious Treasure, Cynthia's Lilies, and such. I think 2 Shrine is fine, but 4th Double Colorless will help kind of smooth some things over. Another Rescue Stretcher would be really helpful as well. The 1 Oranguru is probably fine, but one thing that we can use to help us do things is, there we go, another Nest Ball. So that gives us a finalized Malamar Coco Jank spread of this for now. This will be the, this is not a list I would take to a cup. This is not a list I would necessarily play at a league challenge without having played several matches with, just because there's a lot of little goofy things to do in this deck. That being said, you can see where the deck's really fun. Like, I had no business winning that game. Our opponent was doing everything he wanted to do every single turn, but the damage just added up literally just enough to the last 10 damage counters. And we were able to take that game from our opponent. Literally just take it. We had no business handling that game. Why can't I rename this? There we go. So it's not just going to be spread.malamar, right? Because it is still a somewhat of a Malamar deck, and quite frankly, the Malamar count might be a 3-2 line when we're done, and there's another Oranguru in there. I'm not sure. So that's going to be it for today. The other video is uploading, if it isn't already uploaded by the time this thing is up, and hopefully everybody can have fun this weekend. We have 3 events this weekend. League Challenge, G&G Friday night. You'll see me there. Saturday, the Cup at G&G. I will not be there. My only other commitment that takes up my weekends once a year is our fantasy baseball draft that I've been doing with my family and coworkers for 6 years now. So kind of got to do that. Hopefully I can come in first place this year. Second place was not satisfying because I won the year before. And then Sunday we have Destiny games. Our friend of the channel, Patrick, is going to be running the tournament there. So let's all try to make his life easy. I think this is going to be the first cup that he's run. So let's try to make his life easy. Everybody, take care. We'll see you Friday night at G&G and Sunday at Destiny, assuming nothing goes wrong in life. Take care.